COVID-19 isolation Legal Talk Tuesday. I'm kind of laughing, but it's a bit of a surreal world that we're finding ourselves in right now. And, with all the social distancing and self-quarantine and curfews and lockdowns. And so we wanted to come to you today, not to talk about legal stuff, but to talk about real life. So what are some of the things that we can do to keep ourselves sane and positive during these next couple of weeks and maybe longer, depending on kind of how things work out in the medical and political fields? But we want to look at a few things that those of us with children, which would be Brooke, and those of us without can try to do to find some peace and quiet and some sanity during the next couple of weeks.
Right. So yeah, it's a lot. And we know it's a lot. So even though we are actually set up to work from home, we haven't really had to change our business model or structure much. I do now have all three of my children at home with me all of the time. I don't know what they're doing right now. I went and mom-eyed them earlier and told them to be quiet, but I had to throw a meowing cat in one room. The other one's watching Frozen 2. And I don't even know what the other one's doing. So, they're here all the time. And recently, the kids and I just moved into a smaller house. And so we really haven't, we've been going, we've had a lot of big changes and things happening in our lives. And so we really haven't even established a new normal. And so I'm kind of struggling to find that now. So, and then finding myself doing a lot of things that I didn't anticipate having to do, including what many of you are doing, having to make sure the kids are keeping up with their schoolwork. And, now we've run out of schoolwork and I don't know what they're going to do about getting us more. So, becoming a teacher and then, cooking for them. Not that I don't cook for my children and I can cook, but I do not enjoy cooking. And I especially do not like cooking every single day. So, having to do that, having to referee, they're constantly fighting. Two of my kids are now sharing a room. And so that's super fun. If you have kids that share a room, just kind of being a director and a bouncer and everything else that goes along with that. So, having a career to run, trying to stay sane, just like all of you probably are out there. Here are a few things right now that, I'm trying to do, and I definitely don't have it down, but I'm trying to find things to do every day to keep my kids entertained, keep me sane, and keep business moving forward. So one of the things I like to do, which has been very difficult lately, is to send the kids outside to play. I sent one of my kids out to the carport yesterday and he just bounced a basketball out there forever because it's covered. But so the rain here has not been good to us. So that's not been helping. But, we're obviously not having play dates with other kids. They're Skyping with some of their friends. They're gaming with some of their friends. But my oldest son actually attended a virtual gaming birthday party for a friend last night. So, we're trying to find creative ways for them to also stay connected and social. And, they're obviously all up in each other's faces. So, but, it gives me a little bit of time when I can set them up with activities to knock some things off of my work to-do list. And so it's not as structured as it normally is, but I'm still trying to find a way to structure in what I have to do and also not completely neglect my children all day long. But and I'm also, when I'm finding time, kind of trying to embrace things that I really enjoy doing. Obviously, most of us like binge watching Netflix. So, I've done a few binges, some of them really stupid, but I've been doing that. But also I like to sketch and I like to draw. And so if I can take a minute and have some solitude and get my sketchbook out, my pencils, and kind of go to my happy place undisturbed for a little bit, or until the kids are here, then I do that. I also like to listen to podcasts. I've got Audible that I'm listening to, along with some people in my mastermind group. I'm reading a book with a friend, so we can talk about it. So things like that. Also, I'm trying to leave the house when I can. So fortunately, my kids are old enough that they can be alone for a little bit while I go for a walk, try to do some kind of improvised workout since my gym is closed, or, go out into the woods across the house, from the house. There's a nice stream. It's really peaceful out there. So trying to get out and have some me time also is very helpful. But just know you're not in it alone. We're all trying to figure it out and nobody's doing a great job at it. So.
And so on kind of the reverse side of what Brooke's dealing with is I don't have kids. And I am, I'm also used to working from home like Brooke is, because even before I joined MyVirtual.Lawyer, I was a remote employee for a really large company. So I've pretty much always worked from home. But, me running a virtual business, working from home, and I'm an introvert, some people might think that this is an easy transition for someone like me to be at home during this crazy time, but it is and it isn't. It's, kind of dangerous for a solitary person like myself who enjoys being alone to be in forced isolation time. I kind of like to be alone when I want to be alone, but I don't like for people to tell me what to do, which is partially why I own my own business with Brooke, so that we don't have people telling us what to do all the time. But it's, really, really way too easy for me to come, to stay at home and hermit and not come up for air. But I'm also immunocompromised. I have an immune disease, and so I take immune suppressant pills, which means that I really do take this stay-at-home thing seriously. And I'm really only going out to the grocery store, and I'm not going to lie, the liquor store on occasion as well. But other than that, I haven't really been around humans for really since last Thursday, when Brooke and I were together filming something that's coming up for us. But anyway, I'm trying to establish some habits and things like that to help me stay in touch with the outside world, besides just reading newspapers on my phone, because that's what I do. So one thing that I'm really doing that's really helping me, and probably will, I would think that it would for other introverts out there, is I'm texting at least one friend that I don't normally talk to every single day. So that's really, I'm very blessed in my life to have these amazing friends that I've met in various stages of my life who live all over the United States. And they know that I hate talking on the phone. Once I'm on the phone, you can't get me off, but it takes a lot of effort for me to kind of gear up for what's probably going to be a 2 or 3 hour conversation. And it's something that I've been really bad at lately, thinking about somebody and not picking up the phone and texting or something like that. So it's, being a social introvert is a little bit weird. And I think a lot of you can probably appreciate and commiserate with me during this time with that. But I've really found that checking via text, at least, one different person a day, checking with my friend in South Carolina or friend in Louisiana or Washington State, it really helps me with my relationships that I sometimes let go undernourished because of time constraints and me not wanting to be on the phone for so long. So it's been pretty awesome this last week to be able to just kind of, hey, little brief conversation back and forth, touching base. You're okay, I'm okay. And, it's just a little bit more than I would normally do, which again is that undernourished part. So another thing is I grew up on a farm, which a lot of people are super shocked when they learn that about me. But I never thought of myself as an outside person. I was always an inside person until 2015. I was kind of traveling, taking a break from life, and realized that outside is my happy place, whether that's, a lake or in the mountains or whatever it might be. So I try to go for a walk, which, as Brooke mentioned, we are having a hard time with the weather here in Arkansas lately. It's super lovely outside today. For those of you that are in Central Arkansas, I haven't checked the state to see what it is everywhere. But if I can't go for a walk because it's raining and I don't want to be in the rain, then I like to sit outside on my covered porch at least once a day. Sometimes that's all I do because I'm, just so complacent sitting on my couch. But fresh air is, life's breath for all of us. Don't get that fresh air while standing, inches away from your neighbor who's coughing in your face. But get some fresh air outside, and that kind of helps with breathing and getting a little bit of peace and just kind of moving yourself out of your current, situation. It gives you a little bit of variety, I think, in your day. So I like the fresh air, I like the breezes, and those are just two things that I'm doing that I found both very, very helpful in my mental sanity and helping me feel connected to the outside world. So,
well, if it makes you feel better, I checked the weather and it's supposed to be nice the next 2 days. So maybe we can spend a lot of time outside, send your kids outside, whatever. But so, we've shared with you some of the things today that we're doing to try to keep ourselves sane and positive and productive during this uncertain time. If there's anything that you're doing, just drop some tips and tricks in the comments below. That that you're doing that helps you thrive and not just survive. I think we're all kind of day-to-daying with it right now. But if you have anything to share, we would love to hear from you. Join us next week. We're still going to be here next Tuesday, March 31st at 11:30 Central. So same time, same place. Thank you guys for tuning in. Have a great week.